Welcome to the Green Hat Local SEO Podcast, where Kyle Sabra delivers hard-hitting, actionable tips and strategies to help business owners dominate their local market and crush the competition. Kyle's no-holds-barred approach cuts through the noise of traditional SEO, focusing on battle-tested tactics that deliver real results. He's here to arm you with the tools you need to skyrocket your rankings, generate more leads, and grow your business online. If you're tired of hearing the same old SEO nonsense and want to learn the truth, this is the podcast for you. Get ready to put on your green hats and learn SEO secrets the other guys can't handle. Now, here's your host, Kyle Sabra.
Hi, welcome to this episode of the Green Hat Local SEO Podcast. And in this episode, I wanted to go over Google and Cloud Stacks. So the reason I'm bringing this up today is because I got an email from Web20 Ranker saying that according to their tests, Google Stacks are back in play. Well, guess what, idiots? Google Stacks never left. We've been killing it with these for 7 years now. And the way that cloud stacking, Google stacking is being used has had to change, but they never actually stopped pushing power. They never actually fell out of favor with Google. It's all just about how you use them and what to expect out of them. So back in 2016, 2017, 2018, when we first started heavily using these, in fact in 2016 actually, I think, they were great. You could fire up a Google stack, point it to your website, or point it to whatever you're trying to push, and then it would push that in organic, and then the drive folder, Google Sheets, Google Docs, all of that would also appear in organic, and you could take over 7 or 8 spots, 9 spots in organic with a Google stack. That all changed in, I think, 2021 when Google said, okay guys, you fucked around with this long enough. We're going to make it so nothing is indexable, or Google Drive folders aren't indexable. So things changed. But what people don't realize is you could still make them indexed if, 1, you had one created prior to when Google shut these off, or 2, if you created one via the API. So we were still using these and still killing it with Google Stacks all through Google Stackageddon. But even then, they stopped pushing power organically as much as they used to. You could still get an extra 1 or 2 spots, but your Google Drive folders wouldn't index. Those wouldn't rank. And instead of getting 2 or 3 Google Docs on there, you get 1 Google Doc, maybe you get a Google Sheet on there. But really, where a lot of the power was in Google Maps. So all these people who are expecting 2016, 2017, 2018 results from their Google Stacks and aren't getting that now, and are bitching and moaning and crying about how Google Stacks don't work and how anybody who uses them is just lying to themselves or is just trying to fool people. Well, fuck you guys, because they're working. And you know what? The way to use them now is you don't go in there expecting to get a 10-spot jump, 20-spot jump in Maps, or a 10-spot jump, 20-spot jump in Organic, and then expect your Google Docs or Sheets or Drive folders to index and rank as well. What you're doing with these and also with Cloud Stacks is what you're doing is you're getting self-referential properties on there with your service on highly trusted, highly authoritative properties that Google loves. And when you get enough of these on there and you add in your brand name, you add in your NAP, and you embed all the properties together, Google will read all of that together and make the connections, because you know what? Google is never going to devalue their own properties, right? We've seen this time and time again too, where Google will artificially inflate the power of their own properties. Remember when Google bought YouTube and all of a sudden YouTube was showing up all over the search results? It was fucking great. I could spam YouTube all day and get 2 or 3 videos ranking on the first page for my clients. And there was an outcry there, and Google stopped doing that, but YouTube videos still are ranking in a carousel on the first page of search results. A lot of times with how-to queries, a YouTube video is going to be the first result on there, right? So Google has sneakily not demoted or devalued the properties, but just changed how they're looking. And that's the same way with these Google Stacks. Google has not devalued Google Stacks at all. Yes, it made it so you can't You can't hand create a Google Drive folder and have that index now. But like I said, if you have Drive folders created before Google Stack Hidden like we do, or if you create these through an API like we do, they're still indexable, right? Google is still going to read them, crawl them, and read the contents within them. And this is where the power is, right? Just like a website is really just a folder with pages in it, so is a Google Stack. You have your Drive folder, which is your website, and then you have the different pages in there. So essentially what you're doing is you're almost creating a file system with a website just within a Google Drive. And another problem I see people doing is they will take these Drive folder properties, the Google Drive, Google Docs, Google Sheets, all that, and then point it directly to like the CID for their GBP or directly to their website. And that's also not the way to do that, right? So the way to do this is you get your Drive folder, right? You either get one that was made before Google Stack Hidden, or you create one via an API, and you put your content in there. Again, because like I said, just like a website is a folder with different pages and different files in there, so is a Google Stack, so is a Google Drive stack. So now you have Google Docs targeting your keywords. They have your optimized content in there. They have your semantic triple in there. Like Joe's Plumber is a plumber in Los Angeles, or Joe's Plumber does emergency plumbing, right? Then you have your NAP in there, and then you have links going to each one of the other properties in there. So if you are targeting 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 different keywords, think about all the interlinking that you can put in there. And again, just as we know interlinking is important for a website, interlinking is important for a Google Stack as well. And you can use a Google Sheet as kind of the hub for all this too. So you can create a Google Sheet, have every single fucking link and property that you created, and put that in there, right? Then you can take that sheet and do whatever the fuck you want with it. You can take that sheet, put it into a press release. Now all of a sudden you have 400 links to it, and a few dozen embeds for it, right? You can put it into a money robot diagram and have 20,000 different embeds with that Google Sheet, right? You can shoot GSA links to it. You can shoot GSA links over to that Drive folder, right? But again, the major power, the push, is from all the self-referencing content in there that is on these highly trusted and highly authoritative Google properties. And then, like I said, when you take all of these and you embed them onto a Google site, which is what you should be doing, and then you point the Drive folder links to the Google site, which is what you need to be doing. This just magnifies the power, because then you know what? All that content, all those folders are being embedded onto that Google site. And why are embeds so powerful? Because Google reads them as part of the web page themselves. On top of that, they act as do follow links, right? So now all of a sudden you have this one of probably the most highly trusted properties out there, a Google site, with all the information for your company, all the information for where you want to rank for your NAP. It's got your GBP embed on there. It's got driving directions and shit on there. And this is all being embedded onto a Google site, which is going to include another article about, how Joe's Plumber serves people in Los Angeles, and Joe's Plumber is a emergency plumber in Los Angeles, with optimized content on there. And you're adding in schema. Imagine how powerful these things are, because now Google knows how all these things are connected. They're embedded on the Google site. Now you're shooting links over to the Google site, powering those up as well. I mean, even if the Google site itself doesn't rank, you're getting a do follow link from there, right? You're getting all your embeds on there. Google's reading all this content over and over and over again, and then you're sticking this all in a Google Calendar, which you're updating, which you're putting it to update every 30 minutes, right? Now Google's crawling this thing every 30 minutes. Now imagine how powerful that can be for your GBP if Google sees all this content referencing about how you are a plumber, how you are in Los Angeles, how you provide plumbing services in Los Angeles, on dozens and dozens of highly trusted authoritative properties. And then it's being crawled every 30 minutes. So you know that Google is updating and reading these, right? And then this link on the Google site that you've made into a do follow link, right? Because you know what you're doing, and you added in schema in there, right? Because you know what you're doing. And that's all pointing to your website, right? With the GBP embed in there. So now Google knows that this GBP is a part of this Google stack, which references how Joe's Plumber is a plumber in Los Angeles. And that's backed up with the schema on there and the optimized content. And now look, all this is linked to the site for Joe's Plumber, which also is connected with this GBP, which the GBP is referenced in this Google Stack, which is being updated because it's in a Google Cloud, or I'm sorry, Google Calendar, right? And that's really where the power comes from. These things never stop working. These things have worked for almost 10 years now. It just you need to rethink how you're using them, and you need to not go in there expecting again to get 20 spot jumps. But you know what we're seeing is people who use Google Stacks, who have this as part of their entity build out, who use this as part of a way to tell Google directly, hey, I'm a plumber, I'm in Los Angeles, I serve people in Los Angeles, I provide plumbing services. Then Google understands them, Google understands the brand, understands where they are, what services they provide. And when you have this entity built out and you have this brand built out, then you are far, far, far less likely to be hit by these updates that we've been having since 2022, which are directly focused on branding and knowledge graph. This is how Google Stacks need to be thought of now. The same thing goes for Cloud Stacks. With Cloud Stacks, back in 2017, when I was experimenting with these, you could rank an Amazon S3 site. You could rank a Google Store Cloud Storage site on the first page, right? And these would push powerful, super stupid powerful links, and you can get pretty much anything ranked by doing that. Well, now it's the same thing. Google is systematically going through each cloud provider and devaluing their properties. Google Storage stopped working a long time ago. I think this is the only thing that I can really think of to where Google specifically devalued something because they don't want people spamming their cloud storage facilities, right? Google or Amazon S3 works best as like a tier 2 link now. Microsoft Azure is probably the most powerful tier 1 link for cloud, but even that's losing power. Wasabi stopped letting you create public buckets last year, I think, in 2023. So these still all push power. Especially, I mean, Wasabi is great now because again, if you had an account with them prior to 2024, then you're one of the lucky few who can still have public Wasabi properties. But all of these, again, Google knows who all these companies are. Google trusts Microsoft. It trusts Amazon. It trusts Backblaze and IBM and Oracle and GitHub and stuff like that. These are all super powerful, super authoritative properties, which again, if you create enough of them, you're going to get dozens and dozens of self-referential properties talking about how you are located here. Here's the GBP. Here are the services you provide. Here's the areas you provide them in. Here's a schema that disambiguates all of that. And Google loves that. And on top of that, one other thing I don't think people realize, and one way to get even more power out of these, is that when you use buckets in different areas, when you use a bucket like an Amazon bucket in southeast or northeast or west or whatever, each one of those has a different IP, right? And what's one of the biggest factors for off-page SEO is how many different referring domains you have going to your site. So you can get your tier 1 link. You can get, if you want to fucking waste your money and spend $500 on a guest post, I mean, God bless you for it. But if you want to pour more power to that, you don't need to get, links on, a dozen different cloud providers. When you can just get a link off of Amazon S3, remember, because we're using these as tier 2 links, and you can get a link off of every single one of their data centers, which is a different referring domain, and boom, there you go. That's how you use your links now for cloud stacks. You use them to as self-referential properties for what services you provide, where you provide them. You add your schema in there, and then you use them as referring domains. You can absolutely use them to your site, but also for your tier 2 links, right? I mean, there's other ways that we're using these as well. Like we're combining these with Google Sheets and PDFs and stuff like that that we're not going to release publicly. But everybody who says that Google Stacks don't work, Cloud Stacks don't work, are being disingenuous. They either don't know what the fuck they're talking about, which I think is probably a good part of the people out there, or they're just trying to tell people this so people don't use them. I mean, I use them. I tell people they work. I'm not going to tell people how we use them, how we're building them, but I'm also not going to go around saying they don't work because they do. And I invite people to use these uh, because they're going to push power as long as you use them, but they're not going to push as much power as the way that we are using it. So that's about it for this episode. So just to recap, Google Stacks never lost their power. They just need to be used differently now. Cloud Stacks never lost their power. They just need to be used differently now. And everybody who says otherwise is fucking stupid. So that's about it for this episode. Check us out,ghls.io. Join our Facebook group, the Green Hat Local SEO Facebook group, for more tips. Or just reach out and contact us. If you like what we're saying, cool. If you don't, fuck you. I don't give a shit. And I'll talk to you guys later.